The Kyrie Irving, Avery Bradley message that it had been reported, I don't know if it was probably by you, by the way, that I think 80 players were on the call kind of listening to that about how you go to Orlando, you're potentially away from the mission and message of social justice for everybody. And then there was the alternative point that was like, hey, down there, though, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. You're going to have a lot of cameras on you. You can probably boost and spotlight that message even bigger. So there's been two different viewpoints here, very polar opposite. And there was a lie that Kyrie Irving wanted to start his own league. He came out and said that isn't true. But how much dissension is there, does it feel, amongst the players about this concept, even though the NBPA was with the NBA while they were putting this entire thing together? Do you think their June 24th vote, when it comes back, will be like the NFL CBA vote where it was like 51 to 49? Do you think it'll be like that, or will this be a unanimous type thing?
No, I think the majority of players want to play, but the NBA and the PA are making this an individual decision. Like, the decision's already made. The NBA is moving forward. They want to resume their season. Now it's about who's coming along for the ride. The NBPA and the league approved not only the format, but the entire health protocol. So the league is moving forward, but there are pretty much 3 or 4 groups of players that do not, that the NBA is going to have to see where they go. There's this Kyrie Irving group with Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley. There were several other players on that call, Carmelo Anthony, like you said, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, guys that are just not feeling that the league going back into playing is what's best for the country and what's best for these athletes, right? There's that group. There's also the group of players, I'm told, that are just deciding if this is the right fit for them. Do they really want to go through the bubble? There are players that have dealt with losses in their life during this pandemic that are dealing with health issues with family members that have to decide if we're going to return. There are some very notable players, I can tell you, Pat, that are seriously deciding whether this is the right time for them to make their return.
Names.
And it has nothing to do with this coalition.
Who?
I don't get bubble right now. But, they're deciding if and it has nothing to do, quote unquote, with this coalition. Some of the same values and morals may apply, but it's each individual decision. And then there is the majority of players, I feel, that still do want to return to some extent. Damian Lillard said this week that he doesn't feel 100% risk-free about this whole procedure of going into Orlando and everything that it entails. But he knows he has a responsibility to provide for his family. He has a responsibility to return to the floor. And that's how I feel like a majority of the players do still feel.
Avery Bradley of the Players Coalition came out and said the owners can do a lot more to help our message. They're talking about using black-owned vendors for in the arenas, giving back more money because the NBA is a predominantly black league. Do you think that those things are going to potentially get answered by the NBA owner? It feels like that's something the NBA owners and the NBA league feels like they are the most fast acting, quick thinking, try to make the right decision league. And I might be completely wrong just as an outsider looking in, but it feels like they are a league that kind of, like, hey, we feel like we got to give back a little bit. Do you think there is a way for the Avery Bradley, Kyrie Irving group or any other group that doesn't want to go to have conversations with the NBA to move forward and ultimately change their mind?
I do. The NBA, like you said, it's been the most progressive league. From what I'm told, the league is just sitting back, waiting to listen from the players. They're trying to do more listening than actually going out and just donating money to random charities. They want to hear a plan, a specific plan from the players for them to execute. That's what I'm told they're doing. The league really views that opportunity going down to Orlando as a platform for them to shed light on the social injustices going on, whether that's through, my idea is like, do special commercials, have special shirts, special warm-ups, special court decor. There are so many different things they can do. And, from what I'm told, it's not like the league would oppose a player kneeling during the national anthem. This isn't per se the NFL where, we saw what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Whoa. These are the types of acts that the NBA embraces. They want players to go and really use their platform, use their voice, use their brand, use their face to display a message. And if a player chooses to kneel, during the anthem, they won't be fined, they won't be suspended. The NBA's always been open to hearing out the ideas. They want the players to drive this conversation.
How about the players that choose not to go down? I know it's been said that there'll be no punishment, but the player will always think, well, there's no punishment, but that'll be something that'll be remembered. How does the NBA, how do the players, I don't know, because if I was ever told it's like the voluntary workouts, right? Like, yeah, they're voluntary, but your playing time is also something that is kind of like there's always like that kind of. Is there any hint of that from the NBA to the NBA players? Like, whenever they say there's no, like, if you choose not to come, it's not that big of a deal. I would assume, though, at some point there might be some owners in the NBA that'll be like, I remember that guy chose not to come down or something. I don't know. Is there any thought of that?
No. I agree with you. I think the guys that sit, there will be some, there'll be a memory of them. And that's not a bad thing per se. The hope is that they don't get blackballed. Like if some of the guys from this coalition group, like Avery Bradley, et cetera, if they decide to sit out, ultimately, they've already talked about it. If they actually do decide to go through with it, the hope is that it doesn't become a situation where they become blackballed, right? And so, the league has made it clear we respect any and all decisions from any players. But, let's be honest, if a player from, especially a contending team, decides not to play, it'll be remembered not only from the teammates, but around the league. And it'll be a topic. And so it's tough to think that it won't be a thing. But in the back of everyone's minds, they'll always remember, like, hey, so-and-so did not play. He did not join us. And maybe we won the championship. Maybe we didn't go as far as we thought we would, because this guy sat out.
Yeah, I just think that is something that the players should definitely think about. Because like this will now, granted, what will be remembered also is them taking a stand for something that they believe in. So I think there's kind of both sides.
No
of it.
question, and that's the way I view it. Like, guys, everyone is entitled to their own feeling, their own thought. Like, if a guy decides to sit out for whatever reason, that's on him. Like, that's his decision. You applaud that and you keep it moving. And I think that's the approach a lot of people around the league that I've talked to have also wanted to take.
Okay, July 31st, the basketball world is supposed to pop back off. They got golf courses, they got concierges, they got 24-hour room service, they got pools, they got singles, ping pong.
Ooh.
But they do have 35 to 40 days at least away from their families after this entire quarantine with the world upside down.